And we are live. What is going on? It is, Monday, last day of November 2015, 11:30, and you're listening to the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast, or watching it wherever you're doing this, on the YouTubes, on the iPod, whatever. And yeah, this is episode number 129. Big shout out to Chris Loring from Notch Brewing last week, stepping it up, coming in and giving us some crazy scoops on his new location coming in Salem, which I waited in line at Black Friday, but he was not opening that day. So maybe maybe he didn't mean spring.
Yeah, put a tent. Yeah.
Yeah. Gee, I gotta take it down because he said spring, but I'm like, maybe you meant Black Friday, but no, no dice. But yeah, so if you guys skipped that episode for some reason or missed it, head over to the YouTube page and or SBLPodcast.com and check out the downloads, because it was a cool episode, and it's cool to have him back. We're gonna hop in the Wayback Machine for a little bit for the first couple minutes of the show, but before we get to that, I will tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking the Newburyport Meltaway Session IPA from Newburyport Brewing Company out of Newburyport, Mass. But I'm drinking it speaking of Mass, I'm drinking out of this Moss. Come on. There we go. Out of this Money Nose Moss glass. So I made a trip down to Newburyport because my wife was getting her hair done at a place Sean might know. Not that he gets his, maybe you do get your hair done there. We haven't talked about where we get haircuts. But needless to say, I dropped her off. I went over to Leary's, and then I went over to New England Wine and Spirits, both good places in their own right. I found different things at all sorts of places, but because I couldn't make it over to the brewery itself, I grabbed a six-pack because sometimes I need a beer when I play video games, and Session IPA is kind of the way to go for those long nights.
They have those two stores kind of have like some like hidden gems. And
it stinks because I don't know where to go first, because I don't want to go back to the same place twice in the same day. So needless to say, I started at Leary's, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to come back. I don't want to buy something or not buy something. Go to News, find out they don't have that, and I'm like, go back. But either way, yeah, it was cool. So at Leary's, I ended up getting the Mexican Imperial Chocolate Stout from Backlash, which was awesome. I think it's called like Muerte or something like that. But it was fantastic. I got that, and then I got a bottle of Pretty Things, which we'll get to in a little bit. But then over at Leary's is where I got a bottle of Riverwalk Winter Porter and the Newburyport Meltaway. The Winter Porter, I don't know what everyone's talking about this Bourbon County Stout for. The dark beer of my weekend was that one for sure. But enough about me and what I drink. Carla, welcome back to the country. Come on.
Hello.
What's up?
Top of the evening to you. Yeah, so Carla here, known online as Beer Babe. I'm actually drinking a Rising Tide Goes Up.
Ooh, can.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about Rising Tide a little bit later, but it is drinking fabulous right now.
Awesome.
And yeah, I've been out of the country, which I guess we'll talk about in a little bit, and had a good Thanksgiving.
Nice. And did I hear you ran into Frosty DJ on Twitter at Abandoned Horn? We had a Beer Babe sighting.
Oh yes. Yeah. So I went down to Bandit Horn because I was checking out the future home of Dirigo Brewing Company down in Biddeford as well. So Tom Bull gave me a tour down there to check stuff. And but while I was there, of course, you go to Biddeford, of course, you go to Bandit Horn, and then I also went to Saco and Barreled Souls because they're right there. A little trifecta. It was great. And Tom Bull's new space is huge, but needs a bit of work. So they're hoping for kind of spring-ish, but it's a lot of work already happening, but it's big. It's like one of these old mill building things where it's whoa, okay.
And it was what, like a stone's throw away from Bandit Horn?
Yeah, it's kind of like around the Riverwalk block from where Bandit Horn is. So basically, it looks down on the same river that Bandit Horn Mills does. So they're kind of back to back, but maybe driving wise, maybe a half a mile away. So they're really right in the same neighborhood, which is pretty cool. And that neighborhood is growing too. They're putting in new restaurants and shops, and kind of it's kind of coming up. So I think it's going to be a really cool spot to hang out eventually.
Sweet. Shano, what's up?
Hello, I'm Sean Jansen from twobeerguys.com, and I'm currently drinking a Whirlpool from Night Shift Brewing out of Everett.
Nice. Where'd you pick that up?
I actually picked this up at the brewery.
Oh, nice.
in a recent visit.
Nice. They got yeah, and it's huge. Their brewery's huge. I mean, so obviously
Massive.
since we had them last on the show, they're obviously in their smaller space. But man, they're new. Have you been there, Carla, yet?
No, I have not.
Gotta get down there.
And yeah, I know. I gotta make my way over to several mass breweries that I haven't been to yet.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Treehouse. I haven't been to that, so there's too many.
Yep.
They have some classic video games there that you can play for free.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
How classic? Like Atari classic or Sega Genesis classic?
Or like
Like
arcade machines?
Asteroids and
Okay, arcade machines.
Nice.
yeah, full machines.
Nice.
Very cool.
Sweet. Yeah. So again, and it's good. You like Whirlpool, Sean, right? I mean, it goes without saying. Good beer.
Yes, definitely
Yes.
good beer.
Awesome.
It is a American Pale Ale, weighing in at a big 4.5. So
Nice.
it's definitely a session pale.
Nice. I like the can. Can's got a good feel. Nice grit to it. Almost feels like it's it's can, but got
Yeah.
kicking you back. Look at that glass right there. What do you got?
Classic New Belgium glass.
Oh, good glass. Good looking glass. Well, let's get into it. Jesus, I don't know where to start. So do you want to start with? I'll throw it to you guys. What do you want to start with? News stuff or personal what we did stuff? What is more interesting to y'all?
Let's go with what we did first.
Okay, cool. Well, because it's probably way cooler than the news. I want Carla to spill all the beans she has. I won't even set it up because she hid it from us and then hid it from the readers. But
Yeah.
where were you last week?
So last week I was in Ireland, in Dublin specifically. I got invited by Guinness, the brewery owned by Diego. They do all kinds of wines and spirits. They had kind of invited me on rather short notice to come to this trip where they invited about a handful of kind of beer and lifestyle journalists to come check out the brewery. They showed us all over the place. So it was very cool, but it was also very quick, and I wasn't sure how much I should share ahead of time before it all kind of came into line. So didn't mean to keep you guys in the dark, but it was. But so basically, flew out got there on a Tuesday morning last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess now, and we were immediately taken to the Guinness storehouse so that they could, show us around some of the history of what's going on.
So walk me through this, because you're like, do you take a bus there? Like, did you prepare yourself for the storehouse? Because Sean's been there, I've been there. What the hell were you thinking going to this place?
So it's an Uber town. So what they kept doing is, because we had kind of a group, there were 15 of us, and then there were a couple of like Guinness folk with us. So what they would do is they would just kind of shuttle us in different groups of Ubers.
That's cool. They have Uber there. That would make me think that.
Yeah. So so they basically brought us all over. We got the full kind of exclusive tour.
Awesome.
We got to meet with. I think one of the coolest moments for me was we got to meet with the archivist, who's in charge of like all their like historical documentation and all the books and all of this stuff that they've been documenting since they opened, in basically 1750 something.
Jesus.
So like they have literally rooms and rooms just full of like books and papers and bills and whatnot. So we got to see the original lease that Arthur Guinness signed for the property. We got to see the book that had his recipes in it. We got to see another one that had like all the logbooks of like exactly how much beer they made every week, and how much sold and what they poured out. That's
like National Treasure stuff right there, like Uncharted type.
It was. And then they also showed us back in the day before beer was bottled. What they used to do is they would send the beer to different pubs who would then basically bottle it themselves there. So they would that would be where it would be distributed. So they had this whole entire book of just labels from bottles that were specific to like a particular pub. So it was like Joe's Pub's Dublin Porter, and they had to be approved by Guinness, but they could say whatever they wanted on them. So there was like books and books and books. But they used that as a label design for these two beers that they basically resurrected from old recipes that they shared with us too. So
nice.
It's kind of a long story, but basically we got to try a few of these things that were kind of based on historical recipes, which are very good. But then also they wanted to show us the Open Gate Brewery, which is essentially their in-house pilot brewery that they've always had, but they've now decided to open it to the public.
That's
so it's now a tasting
Willy Wonka.
room. Yeah, so it's now a tasting room. you can come in, try the stuff that may or may not ever become a commercial beer, give feedback to the brewers, that type of thing. So they've kind of opened up like a mini pilot brewery within their own walls, which I thought was really cool. And we got access to talk to brewers about what they were doing, but the pilot brewery was just opening that week, so we got in there before it actually opened.
And so at the top of the Guinness Storehouse is probably the coolest view of all. Like,
yeah.
Is
Totally.
it like the 360 view?
Yeah, it's
man.
they called it the Gravity Bar, but it's basically the top floor of this five-story building, and the whole thing is just glass, 360 degrees, so you can see basically all of Dublin. Like, and it had just stopped raining, and like the sun rays were coming through. It's like magical moments where you're just like, okay, I'm drinking Guinness in Dublin, and the top of the building, and oh my god.
Well, you archived it on Periscope.
Yeah, I did. I did a walk around.
And I don't know if there's a way you can download it. But maybe we can put it up on the YouTube page.
I might be able to send you a link to it. I have to figure out.
But yeah, and then we'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, it was awesome because it was you kind of and I looked. I didn't catch it live, but I caught it later. And I was like, it's you sneaking around, and people are looking at you like, what the hell is this lady doing? But you're like, screw you guys, I'm at the top of the world right now.
Right. Yeah, so I just did a little 360 once around for that.
Nice.
And, but it was really quite interesting because we got to talk to them about how their brand is perceived in the U.S. and we can talk more about that later. But I just want to thank shout out to the Guinness folks for really kind of bringing us in and letting us ask kind of difficult and pain in the butt questions and answering them nicely. It wasn't all happy-go-lucky. We were really talking about some of their challenges with being a brand in the craft beer world that is the U.S. now. Like everything's going crazy.
How long was the trip total? How many days?
So basically, I flew out there Monday night, so it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I flew back on Friday, like midday.
Did you get a chance to go to any like cool, other bars and pubs
We
there?
go to the oldest pub ever, which was like opened in 10 something, like pre-plague, like
Jeez.
old. We also took a ride. They gave us a tour up of the Wicklow Mountains, which is where the water for Guinness comes from. And the reason that he signed the lease because he wanted the rights to this awesome water that they had up there.
Yep.
And then we also went on a horseback ride, which was hilarious, and I have other stories for you about that.
What? Okay, yeah, because you think
through the mountains to get a tour of what was going on there.
Awesome. Well, cool, yeah, and
but everybody there, the short version of it is that most of the people there were not. They were from a city type environment, not a country type environment. So I was the only one there. One of the only people there who had ever actually been on a horse. So some hilarity ensued. It was fun.
Nice. It's you haven't posted anything about it yet, or do you plan to do some series?
I'm working on a piece, but if you want to get a good sense of what we did while we were there, I will send you a link to one of the articles that came out today from one of the news there. It was really a nice write-up of it, so I'll give you a link to that.
Now, do you have any shout-outs from other people that you may have gone on the same trip with you?
Well, you guys know Josh Bernstein, so he was there.
From the show, yep.
The show. Author Tom Esatelli, who wrote The Audacity of Hops, was there. And also the beer wench, Ashley Routson, was there as well. Her hair was purple. And it was very easy to find in a crowd. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen her since probably at least 4 years, since one of the early beer bloggers conferences, so it was nice to catch up with her. And then I met a few people that were just really awesome while I was there. Chris from Brewbound, who's just doing awesome stuff there. There were just a great small group, and then several people I did not know because they were in kind of the lifestyle range. They weren't specifically writers about beer, but got to talk to them about their markets. And then also Nick White was there from the Chicago Beer Bloggers Conference. He's one of the he was one of the folks there that hung around with us during that, and I'm trying to convince him to come down to Tampa. I'm not sure if he's going to go, but he's
nice.
Good dude.
Good crew.
Yeah, it was a very good crew, and we managed to kind of like mix it up every time we had dinner or whatever together, so we'd all like be sitting and talking to new people and seeing how that went. There was also somebody there from Brew Public. There were like a lot of names.
Awesome.
And they should all be putting out their stuff probably in the next week or two. So
was it a DJ?
Yeah, it was DJ. Yes. Sorry,
Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the write-up because I can't imagine what like you and then there's other people that are experiencing the exact same thing for like like just this being in itself a sweet tour like that. But I want to see everyone's experience because that's probably pretty cool and then all different. So looking forward to it on the Beer Babe site.
And Christopher McKellen from Brew Enthusiast was there too, and him and I talked for quite a while. He's the one I'll send you the write-up that he already did. He's been to Ireland once before. Most of us haven't, but he had some really good perspectives. So.
And shout out to a guy. Did you meet a guy named from Brew York?
Yeah, that was Chris, a different Chris from Brew York.
So apparently my wife went to school with him.
Really?
So I'm like, yeah, what do you know?
Yeah, he was fun. Everybody was good. I mean, like, I'm going to say
I was
that.
waiting for you to say, yeah, he sucked.
He was great.
Like, yeah,
like,
this guy.
like, oh, that jerk. No, he was,
Yeah.
he was really fun, too. He was funny, actually.
Yeah, small world. But yeah, so looking forward to the write-up, and I'm glad you're back, and I'm sure husband is super pissed that he couldn't make the trip either. So
yeah, I really would like to go back to Europe. Now that I've been a couple times, now I'm like, okay, we really need to like actually go as a vacation together because he's so into history. Like he would have loved all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I did bring him back a shirt and a little hat, and I ended up with a pint glass, one of those like cool ones that has the heart like calling.
Yes.
So.
Nice. Did you get a chance to pour the pint or no?
Yes.
Did you? Oh my God, get in there. Did you pour it well or was it?
I did. I think I did it well. I was. They let us do it all in order. So like I was probably about halfway through the group, so I got to like learn from their mistakes. So, I wasn't the first one, you know what I mean? I wasn't the guinea pig, but I think I did it fairly well. And I drank a lot of Guinness, but I felt pretty good because it's only 4-something%.
Right.
It's like 4.2%. And I was drinking it all day, going, I should be really like messed up right now, but I'm not. Yay! So you know what I mean? Because like if I had 8 craft beers, in a 4-hour period, you'd just be like, I'd be wrecked. But if I have a few and they're all 4.2s, it's basically drinking juice.
For sure.
Were they highlighting their new nitros that they were getting into?
They did talk about their Nitro IPA a little bit, and that's one of the discussions we had about them about how the American market has received that because they think the word IPA means like super hop bomb, and it's not. It's a very mild IPA. It's like an English style, and then Nitro just hops down like even more. So they were talking about that. They did not go into any of the future ones they're going to be doing about that. But we did talk about the Nitro IPA quite a bit.
Sweet.
But and then to everyone who thinks that Guinness over there tastes like amazingly more better than here, I have to say I think that the Guinness over there tastes just like the Guinness here if you get it fresh here.
Okay, yeah. So maybe like a re-raw, or for
right.
like a proper pub.
So I was at the airport before leaving, and I was like, all right, I want to have one over here for comparison purposes. But this airport probably goes through 3 kegs of it an hour, because it's basically the only bar in the international terminal of Boston. So it was like there's probably a lot of Guinness being consumed, and it was great. And then I went over and had one, as soon as we got off the plane.
Yeah.
And it was almost identical, but I told somebody that, and they were like, well, I bet that was way fresher, than the one that's been sitting on draft for, a month.
Yeah.
Nobody's dealt with. So I think...
Well, it also depends how it got here. You figure that most of the stuff is brewed and it comes over in a container in a boat, sits at customs to be inspected. So there's even that additional delay there, too. There is, although they were telling me something about the fact that they keep it refrigerated for crazy, even when that happens.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying anything about the temperature. I'm just saying about the time.
But no, it's true. The farther it goes, the farther it has to go across the country.
Yeah.
But in general, I think freshness is a big issue. But when you get it fresh, it's the same. So people were telling me that it's just not you. That actually, even the bartender in the airport said, "Oh, you're going to Dublin? Oh, you'll never drink this here again." I was like, really? All right,
It's awesome. Well, so yes.
So you just myth busted.
Yeah.
Myth busted.
I'll have to go back and tell him that. Although he'll probably
Yeah.
say, "Silly girl, what do you know about beer?"
Buy a ticket to go nowhere just to go tell the guy at the bar in the airport, hey, listen.
Oh yeah, that's right. I can't really get in there unless I have another international.
Yeah, it's not the olden days anymore, but
Yeah, I know, right? You could just like drop your family off at the gate.
yes. Goodbye, my sweet. Yes. So my stuff pales in comparison to what that is. But so I will shout out, as I mentioned, I didn't even mention that because we didn't have a show last week, but I'm a big Black Friday head. Didn't do much in the way of shopping, but the second annual York River Landing, the Trip to the Dark Side, Dark Beer Day was happening all day on Black Friday. And it was excellent. Nick Evans, beer extraordinaire to the stars, knows what he's doing when it comes to beer. But he kind of outdid himself this time. There was a menu full of dark beers, ranging anywhere from 2009 Smutty Nose Imperial Stout to 2014 Oscar Lewis 10 City. There was some oh boy, Echo from Carla.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't change anything.
Oh boy.
I'll get headphones.
Sorry. Yeah. So, but yeah, I was gonna say it's got it from even Todd Mott's the fall batch of Mott the Lesser was there. I ended up having a 2014 2013 Bitches Brew, which I'm a huge fan of. Also some other good stuff. But yeah, he knows what he's doing when it comes to the beer, and I really appreciated it. And he had 3 years of Bourbon County Stouts, which if you don't know that beer came out on Friday, even if you don't give a crap about that beer, you must not have looked at Twitter, because everyone and their mother was posting on Twitter and Instagram of their Bourbon County bottle, and someone was commenting. I wonder why it wasn't this way 2 years ago or 3 years ago that people would be posting Bourbon County pictures on Instagram. I'm like, well, you got to look at the marketing team now. It was different than a couple years ago. It takes.
Well, they only started releasing it on Black Friday last year or the year before, and it was not very organized at the beginning.
But I'm saying it takes some it takes some big marketing bucks to do something like that. So I believe it's coming from somewhere else. But that's a conspiracy theory in my head. I'm just saying the bottle does look cool. The places in New Hampshire sold out lickety split. But there as usual, there's some places in New Hampshire that you don't go to for beer that will have some still on the shelf because they know how to keep old beer or beer old. People know who I'm talking about. They're moving to a new place, but they'll probably still bring the beer.
I have a really quick old beer story.
Go.
From Thanksgiving. So. Love my in-laws to death, but they're not huge beer people, so whenever I bring beer over there, if we don't kind of drink it all at that dinner or at that event or whatever, it kind of goes into the garage fridge and just kind of hangs out there. So next time I come over, like, I go through it and I bring stuff out. So for Thanksgiving, we went over there and they said, oh, just go through the fridge and, pull out some stuff to drink, and we'll put it in, like, the actual fridge for dinner. And I found a bottle, a 750 bottle of Allagash White that had a batch number on it. It said batch number 43. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, what's
so? So I put it up on Instagram, and I said, hey, Allagash, like, when was batch 43? And it turns out that was July 2007, and we drank it, and it was fantastic. So it was like this, like, really subtle, mellowed, but almost like sweet and teeny little tartness. It didn't taste anything like Allagash White for sure, but it didn't taste bad at all. So it was just this fun little adventure. But I can't believe. But I must have brought that over there literally like months after I started like blogging.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
They're not batch numbers anymore on those. Because it's like the mainstay.
I'm surprised you opened it and didn't wait to find Rob and just be like, "Hey, I just found this in a fridge."
Yeah.
It was kind of. I didn't think it was that old, so I thought, okay, maybe this is 2010, something like that. So we all and also I like drinking it with other people, so I didn't want to like steal it. But now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I probably should have saved it.
Yeah.
But But it was actually really really fantastic. If anybody has well stored Allagash White sitting in their cellars, it's not a lost cause. It's very interesting. I mean, that's not typically a beer you would think would survive well.
Yeah.
But
if it did, God bless Allagash. Why has Rob not been on the show? Okay, soon. Let's get Rob on the show. People are listening and people that might be able to help out. But yeah, real quick, shout out to Nick again for doing his thing on the black beers. I believe Tributary also did the same thing. They released, or they didn't release it. They put on tap another keg of Mott the Lesser. So just
Stoneface
good.
released it, barrel aged RIS.
Yeah, and I wasn't going near that place because if you saw the line, at that place, it was out the door and then like down back. It was too crazy. They did sell out that day before 5, so good for them. Yeah, but I'm working on a piece about beer lines, but it's again to each his own. If it sells out, great. But Sean and I have both been a part of lines that didn't sell the beer out, like last year's Tributary. They didn't sell the bottles out completely, and we got the. I mean, they did, a day later. But either way, I think waiting in beer lines can be good, but it can mostly be kind of cruddy. But again, I've waited in line 36 hours for a PlayStation 3, so who am I talking about? But weirdos.
Or Black Friday lines too.
Yeah, Black Friday lines. I've waited 12 hours for Halo 2. So I mean, I'm not one to talk. I'm just one to speculate. But again, I wish I had a chance to get my hands on that bourbon barrel age, but I knew the Seagulls Beer Facebook group was going crazy, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to touch it unless I got in line super early, and that wasn't my bag. But reviews are great, and congrats to those guys because that gold wax on the top looked super cool and super classy. Good for them. Yeah. So, but as far as Black Friday, it's shifted from shopping to black beer. So I'm all about that next year. So maybe myself and Rick Bruce can work up a Black Friday beer for next year or something. Sean, before we do some quick hits on the news,
really
what we got? Yeah.
Quickly, I don't know if last show we talked about. We went to the Haverhill Tap beer dinner. It was a very reasonably priced beer dinner, 4 courses. Each pairing had like a good 10-ounce pour with it. Then they had some intermediary small courses that came out in like shot glass size food. It was very well done. A lot of value for the dinner itself. And if they're hosting when they host their next beer dinner, I strongly recommend going to it because they put on a really good event for it, and it was very reasonably priced, which was awesome. And they kind of did that as a thank you to their customers and tried not to make it too expensive to not have people be interested in going.
Nice.
And if you're curious about the price, you can check out the blog post that we posted about the event beforehand.
Nice.
In addition to that, I did a little bit of beer shopping. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. This is the latest collaboration between Otter Creek and Lawson's, which is called Double or Nothing. There are limited quantities out there in New Hampshire right now, as I bought mine in New Hampshire. It's a devilishly sweet barley wine aged on maple wood and brewed with a heavily dose of Vermont maple syrup. So it's got a picture of Mike Gerhardt and Sean Lawson on the label. Gerhardt's the devil with wearing his traditional bandana, where Sean Lawson's got his angel halo right there.
Talk about... yeah, I saw that at... where'd you get it? Because I'll tell you where I saw it.
I got it in Seabrook.
Well, where in Seabrook?
Cigarette City.
Cigarette City, damn it! I've never been, but I keep hearing about that.
If you've never been, that's your mind's gonna be blown.
Okay, yeah, because I went to after leaving Newburyport, my wife was still looking for Chacoveza from Stone, which is the Mexican coffee stout, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't find it anywhere in Newburyport, but we found it at Prost in Northampton, which is a great beer store. And they also had for those that are local in New Hampshire, they get crowlers from Garrison City, and they order like 40 at a whack, so they're always stocked, and they also have the new cans of Garrison City. Chaos. Yeah, but yeah, they also have the double nothing
recently of that.
It's good, and I think that's a good move, especially if you can't get the Dover, because getting to Dover is kind of interesting from either direction. So Prost is cool, but yeah, have you tried the double or nothing, or is that the only bottle?
It is. It's a very very nice barley wine. Not
sweet.
Nice.
Nice.
It's a big beer. but it's not overly like hot.
Nice.
So it was very well done. I mean, it is a little pricey. It's like $14.95 or $15.95 on the low end for a 4-pack of 12-ounce bottles, but
Yeah.
not too bad. I also picked up this guy right here, which is the winter seasonal from Trapp. It's called Trosten Lager, which is German for comfort.
Nice.
And Trosten is a dark smoked lager full of something that I can't read in German.
I will say I've been hearing great things about the massive size of the new Trap Brewery. That I need to go just check it out because Sean, we went with Norm to that one,
Yeah,
but I hear the new one is like it's like its
bazillion
own
times
town.
bigger than it. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I can't wait to get there to see it. I mean, the view alone is great, but to have beer on top of that.
Let's go again.
Let's go without Norm because he hasn't come on the show. So
exactly. Bring Carla this time.
Carla,
I want to come.
Get up there.
I've been to so few places in Vermont, like it's kind of embarrassing.
You've been to Dublin. Yeah, that's all you need.
Been to Dublin, but I've hardly been to Vermont.
No big deal.
Yeah, the other thing that I did was on Saturday, I was one of the judges in the Best of Boston Homebrew competition. It's hosted by the Homebrew Shop in Cambridge.
Nice.
I judged some German wheat beers to begin with, and at one point there was some barley wines, and then we did some sours. It was I don't know if you guys have ever homebrew judged before. They were looking for anyone that would be interested in guest judging. It's a really fun time, and you kind of get to expand your beer knowledge by kind of diving in and just kind of writing down the details of an individual beer, talking about it with another judge or two, and then really kind of it's really scoring the beer to style guidelines.
Yeah.
So it allows you to be like, okay, this is a really good beer, but it doesn't really fit into this guideline, or it does fit in this guideline. And it was a very fun experience. The location of the competition was actually at the new home of Down the Road Brewing in Everett. They have not fully moved into it yet, but they will be moving into it. The one challenge was it was a rather cold day on Saturday, and they had no heat, so it was quite chilly in there. That was my after Thanksgiving fun.
Damn,
rather than going Black Friday shopping.
Yeah, that's that. You had way more fun. But again, I had some dark beer, so I was happy. What else did I have? I had Even More Jesus by Evil Twin. That's a good beer.
That's a taste. I had that at the festival when they came to Portland, and it was really good.
Yeah, and then 1050 pours like motor oil, which is the best. But yeah, so let's hop into some. We got a couple quick hits. We have definitely, for those that are listening, check out the show notes. We start posting them on the on the link in the YouTube and the MP3. So if you're listening and want to know what else we wanted to talk about but didn't get a chance to, but it's not super important, check out the show notes because we just we post links and stuff that we're talking about because there's always something going on, but stuff is like, oh, I didn't really know this was happening. But top story. We episode 4. So last week we had Chris Loring of Notch back for a second time. His first appearance was episode 15. The week before that, episode 14, we had Dan Paquette from Pretty Things on and the whole Pretty Things crew. And as of last week, not even a week ago, they announced that they are closing their doors. And I mean, they're packing up their stuff. So I put the link in the show notes to basically their blog post. You can find some analysis at other places, but for the top quote I'll just read verbatim. Then the rest you can watch or read yourself. For a beginning, there must be an end. You can wander off your path, or you can leave it with purpose. The results may be no different, but forceful actions leave a sparkling trail. It's a quote, and again, they put some things in there, mainly saying a good amount of thank yous and such. We hope our beers brought you joy and brought you closer together. There's no greater goal for a batch of beer or a project like ours. So yeah, we all love their beers. I picked up a Meadow Lark. I know Sean and Amber are super close with them. What are you guys' thoughts on Pretty Things closing up shop?
I would
I
say
mean,
it. I mean, it's first off, it's not necessarily it's a surprise. It's a disappointment more than a surprise. They've always mentioned even in their name and how they describe and talk about their brewery. They weren't a brick and mortar brewery. They were a gypsy brewer. So what that means is that they brewed out of other people's locations using their equipment, doing all the work themselves, but they didn't actually own a brick and mortar location for a brewery. And the kind of nod to that was saying that it was a beer and ale project rather than Pretty Things Brewing or Pretty
Yeah.
Things Brewing Company. And they've always said, sort of since day one, is that they were going to be doing their project, and at some point their project was going to have an end. And that end, who knows? It'd be a decision that they made for as a life decision. And when it didn't, when they were ready to move on to another project, that would be the end of it. So
Just like just like Breaking Bad. It's gotta end
exactly.
sometime.
This one they just didn't like, or they
Yeah, not related.
or Sopranos. They didn't just go to black on this.
Yeah.
Their last beer that they produced should just be an all black label. Nothing else.
So good. Fade to black. Oh my god. But yeah, I Carla, thoughts on Pretty Things?
yeah, I mean, I have to give them respect for actually kind of going out on their own terms and just saying like, here, here's what we're doing. Here you go. I mean, the problem though is that because they didn't give like a super specific reason, there's a lot of speculation happening about, why they may have closed or whether or not their sales were any good, or so it's one of those things that like you have to, at one hand, respect them from saying, yep, this is our decision, we're out. But then, there's questions that remain unanswered about, how their business was affected just by the boom of craft beer or by their involvement in the whistleblowing for the pay-to-play thing in Massachusetts. And people will bring that up, and whether or not that will ever be confirmed, like, oh, of course, we got shunned by everybody, so we shut down, or not.
Yeah.
They may never comment on that again, but it's something that, in one hand, they said what they said their piece. On the other hand, there's a lot of people going, well, what happened? So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
no. I was gonna say I would definitely seek out their beers even if you had them before. Like I said, I picked up a bottle of Meadowlark last or this weekend at Leary's in Newburyport, but you can find their bottles pretty much anywhere while they last. And there's some great beers, and there's still even some that I haven't had yet, so I probably won't have a chance to have. But yeah, all good reviews from what I hear. Just solid brews. I had one during the Chris Loring thing. They had their Field Mouse Saison, which is weird because it was called Field Mouse Farewell Saison. So I don't know.
Although it's always been called that, it's like a Field Mouse's farewell or whatever. Yeah, like so.
I'm just as you know, I'm a conspiracy guy.
Theorist.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh my god, they're fine with the messages coming through. No, but
yeah. But also,
but who knows? Because they might come back as something else.
It's something else,
yeah.
And that's not, and it's not his first, foray into the beer world, so I don't think it'll be his last. And when you have, talent like that, you can, collaborate or pick up and do other things. But also, because they were a gypsy brewer, because they didn't have all that infrastructure, they could literally decide to stop at any point. Like, they could literally just say, which they kind of did. They're just like, nope, that was the last batch. We're done. Some logistics aside, but it's a heck of a lot easier to stop when you don't have equipment, a space, a retail tasting room that you have to staff all the time. So it's in a way, it's.
But you also lose that ability to sell direct. You lose that ability to have that direct consumer that many of the other people in the market have. So it's a hard
double-edged sword. Yeah.
I think just thinking back to the episode that we had with him, was one of the most fun episodes that we had on the podcast at all, because it was during their holiday party. And all of their employees actually kind of like rotated in and kind of chatted with us during the podcast, just saying hello.
Yeah.
And it was very neat to kind of see that side of it. Like, hey, we're not just a brewery; we're also just enjoying a fun night with our friends.
Yep. So yeah, and for those that wanted a kind of a peek into their, not necessarily beginning, because they've been open for a bit, but about some of their history and how they operated, check out episode number 14 of the podcast, which I can't tell you the date for because that was too long ago. But yeah,
They
check it
also
out.
did that. They also, on one of the episodes, we talked about an article that they were interviewed and had pictures of their house. That there was like a walkthrough of the beer centric things in their house, which was I think it was Boston Globe that they opened their doors to.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, checker route. Obviously, we can't transition out of this thing as well as I want to, but let's talk about mustard for a second. Am I right, guys? Oh boy, there's no good transition, but
well, we couldn't have thought of a like wonderful like they couldn't muster the ability to stay. No.
You could have just said, how about you could have just said, oh, is that the train?
No. Oh shoot. What were we thinking about? Mustard. No. Sean, did you put this up there?
That was actually under my Cyber Monday. How many emails did you receive? Was there anything good?
Yes.
That's why
sorry
it's
about that.
right aligned rather than left.
So what? Oh, for God's sakes! What? Good story. Go ahead. What is this? Tell us about this.
So I got an email. A local, well, not a local, but one of our beer blogging friends has not only become a food show network star. He's also come up with his own molasses mustard called JD's Louisiana Molasses Mustard. And he was sending out emails for Cyber Monday and Black Friday for some different deals that they're having to purchase the mustard. It is a southern take on traditional honey mustard, combining hot sauce, mustard, and cane syrup in the right proportions yields a hot, tangy, and sugary sweet concoction perfect for marinating and dipping.
And by the time people that are watching this or listening, the deal will be over. I'm sure because it's a money thing, but you can probably buy it separately. I totally recommend. It also goes with there's the bundle. It comes with the mustard, a shirt, and a bottle of his premier barbecue sauce. And that JD's barbecue sauce, I have whatever's left of the bottle in my fridge right now that I bought maybe not less than a month ago. Man, is that good barbecue sauce! I put that stuff on anything. So
nice.
if you're in the market for some like good barbecue, even if it's a stocking stuffer, this is not even a promo because I bought this myself. I mean, it's we're not getting paid for it, but that is some darn good barbecue sauce. JD knows what he's doing, and it pains me to say this every time I think about it. If you think about old Jay, is that he came in second on Next Food Network Star, fan favorite, should have won. He knows he should have won. But yeah,
he's got some mustard now.
Now he's got mustard.
Yeah.
So he's coming back in a big way. No, but if follow him on Instagram and Twitter at JDCody and or at HugJD, I believe is
or
also.
Is it Beers, Bites, and Booze?
Bites and Booze.
Yeah, Bites and Booze.
But yeah, but check it out. I definitely want to get some of that mustard, and I might
Bite and Booze. One bite.
Bite and Booze.
Yeah.
I want to get that mustard, or I want to get the barbecue sauce for Rick Brews, so I may as well get that bundle and go in on the mustard for myself and the shirt for myself because that's a rockin' shirt too. Let's end it. Let's end it here because I know that the next topic we want to talk about, beer calories, might be a topic.
Yeah, that might be a longer discussion.
It might be a full show thing, because that gets kind of dicey. But
I'll do it for my treadmill that I just ordered on Cyber Monday.
Read about it. Carl on a treadmill. That will sell some episodes. We'll sell that one.
No, y'all don't want to see that.
Sean, you also put that the Growler tours here in New Hampshire, here in Portsmouth area, are doing some discounted tickets and some winter hats as well.
Yep.
So check it out.
Did you guys get any other good Cyber Monday beer-related emails?
It wasn't Cyber Monday, but I will shout out. It started a couple days ago. The throwback Unafraid of the Dark series has started selling tickets or memberships. Let me really quick, because now that you brought it up, I want to say what beers they have announced because it's cool. So as we had them on the show twice now, but they have mentioned their Unafraid of the Dark series, where as you can imagine it's all dark beer, and this membership works starting in January. Every 6 weeks, there's a new beer, or yeah, every 6 weeks there's a new beer for 6 weeks. So there's six total beers, I believe. That's the six.
Yep.
Yes. So they and they're all new every time. And this year they have announced four of them, of four of the six, and then the other two are coming out later. But the first four that they announced are a Black Forest Cake, which is a lagered stout with cherries, chocolate, and oaky rum notes. An imperial porter with fruity notes coming from local plums. A robust porter with smoked local apples, and
Ooh.
and interesting one is a carrot cake milk stout with local carrots. So
Ooh.
that's probably the most risky, and they've done risky things before with their stouts. But yeah, this could be good. I'm not a big carrot cake fan, so we'll see how this goes. Sean, thoughts?
I've had the Stone 24 karat.
How's that?
Yep, I have
It was
too.
it was interesting.
So is that
But
so?
it
It has
wasn't.
so it's not a play on the word carrot. It's a carrot cake
No,
beer.
there's actual carrots.
Carrot cake.
No
Yeah.
way.
It was
Carrots.
good. I liked it
That
actually.
was good. Okay,
I
I'll
didn't
give it a
think-
shot.
I didn't get an overwhelming like carrot cake flavor from it. It's almost like the sweetness from the carrots more than anything else. It's not like
Okay.
it's not like gingerbready. You know what I mean? Like, but it was
Not
interesting.
spicy.
Very interesting. So I'm a little. But you said it was a carrot cake milk stout.
Carrot
Is
cake milk stout. Yeah.
that sounds fun because that would have more kind of like body to it.
And here's something
I
that
don't
people may not realize. Because they moved over to a new system, all of their batches are much bigger batch. So those who may have tried to sign up for or hesitant about signing up for the Unafraid of the Dark previously, I'm sure they're going to have more entrants available because the batch is bigger.
And so they list those four, and then they gave little hints on the final two. One is hoppy, and the other will be lighter bodied and briny. So I wonder if that's gonna be maybe an oyster stout.
Ooh.
Could be.
Ooh.
I mean, but yeah. So all the info's on throwbackbrewery.com. Definitely, you'll find it in my column next week. But it is one of my picks for gifts for the family, not for the family, but for for the beer lover in your family. That it's a pretty cool gift. You basically get a punch card, and if you have a growler, you use the growler you have. This year they're not giving growlers with the membership, so you either buy one with it or you just bring, because everyone should have one that has been the throwback before. But yes, so you get a growler, either a one growlet or two growlets, with depending on the membership you pick, and it's a pretty good deal. And you don't necessarily need to be part of the membership to get the beer, but if you want it guaranteed, you got to be part of the membership, and then you end up saving money anyway. So you're good to go there. Get it guaranteed.
And also, Brian, Saturday is a somewhat big day in the beer world.
Yes. What we got?
It is Repeal Day,
Whoa.
which is a celebration of the repeal of Prohibition.
We did it.
So, yes. So if you want to check out any details on it, go to www.repealday.org.
It's a big day.
Big
Watch
day.
a lot of tweets. Is there going to be even an Untapped badge?
I doubt it. I haven't seen one in the past. I mean, they do Thanksgiving. They do.
Yeah.
I mean, you should get a badge every day for Hanukkah, but they don't do that yet. Just throwing that out there. I know on
Hey,
tap.
that's controversial. Even coming from a non-Jewish guy, that's controversial. I like it. So, hey, you're sticking up for him. You're a good man. But I still want the WrestleMania badge just as importantly. So,
Exactly.
but sticking real quick on the throwback, we'll talk. I'll shout it out next week and maybe the week after too. While we have no, I'll shout out next week. Nope, it is the 13th. On the 13th is the Fat Alberta release
Oh,
at
that's
the new
cool.
brewery. So check it out. So all their information on the
That's
website.
a Sunday, right?
It is a Sunday, yes. So I would say definitely check it. It's usually packed, but again, as Sean mentioned, new brewery, more space, more beer. But again, more space is the important part. We went a couple weeks ago and people were outside still, even though it's now it's not a possibility. It's too cold out. But yeah, it's crazy. It's nice. It's nice in there. I love it. that's going to do it for the news. Again, we have some other stuff we want to talk about next week, but also in the show notes, if you want to check it out, there's some new FDA regulations on gluten-free beer. New Belgium's going to enter the market with some stuff. We got some. Carla put some Guinness recaps in there as well, including the Periscope. Little Rising Tide news from our friends up in Portland, and a new online craft beer program from UVM, aka University of Vermont. Let's get in there, and then we'll leave a sneak peek of what we wanted to talk about. So if you guys really are like, man, what were they itching to talk about? Check it. It's on the show notes, SBLPodcast.com. Let's see what's coming up this weekend. I don't have much. I for those that are part of the Imperial Pint Club of Portsmouth Brewery, this is, again, we're getting super local with this news. But if you're part of the Imperial Pint Club, the Christmas party or the holiday party is next week. It is Wednesday, and they just announced that today. So for those that are trying to figure it out, there it is. I believe they're closing out the entire first floor this time for the night session, which will be way better space. Yes.
Yeah.
So I go to the night one, Sean.
I will have to get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they do. There's so many people that are in part of this the Pint Club. I say get the club every year just because of this. It is they pull all of the stops. Their holiday party for their mug members are. You get a free. It's a free meal basically. It's a buffet style meal, unlimited food, unlimited beer. And then now it's either you go at lunchtime, or you go at dinner time. So obviously the smoother move is dinner time, so you're not going back to work after lunch. At unlimited thing. But yeah, it's cool, and the beers are there great. I was just there on Wednesday, and they're killing it. It's you don't see a lot of their beers being praised on some of the local beer forums, and it's definitely sad that that's the case. But their beers are awesome. So I say too much about them. So yeah, that's happening. I'm definitely gonna go back to Neighborhood Thursday or Friday because they're coming out with a new beer. We were just there last week, and Neighborhood in Exeter is killing it. They're doing good stuff. And there's also rumblings of something happening during Portsmouth Beer Week regarding Neighborhood. So I cannot wait for that. That's all I got. I gave you I give you something happening next week and something happening in February. So, Carla, what do you have?
I only have one to shout out this weekend. There were a lot of things that happened last week that were Black Friday related, whatnot. But the one that's going on now, it actually has to do with Rising Tide. So right now, Rising Tide for the whole week is actually closed because they're redoing their tasting room. So they're basically like reorganizing that whole section of their brewery, so that they can have a better tasting room, so they can have more space to store stuff, whatnot. So they're actually closed all week. However, they just announced that Friday through Sunday they're going to do like a pop-up tasting room. So they're going to have like a tasting room run with like jockey boxes, where they're going to, they'll be selling like bottles and cans, but not doing growler fills, and not selling, basically not selling any glass, but basically just doing samples and that type of thing. So. But they're calling it like a pop-up tasting room, which I think is a cute little way of kind of opening it but not opening. And they'll be doing that with a food truck also. So, going back to the, kind of hanging out, old school way of just grabbing a sample, noshing on a little food, and while things in construction and painting and all kinds of things are going on behind the scenes. So it's also the release of their Saison d'Hiver, which is the winter one. And that's going to be a rye saison with orange peel and spices. So they will have more of that beyond this weekend. So if you can't make it up this weekend, you can check that out then. But they are definitely open for that little pop-up thing Friday and Saturday from 12 to 7, and then Sunday from 2 to 5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that goes is good? I still haven't got it.
Oh, it's so good.
God.
It's so good.
Whatever. I
love it. It's legit. It's a legit Goza, and they're making now enough of it that you can actually buy it when they release it instead of it being like half a sixtel.
Nice.
So, but it is fantastic. If you see it, get it.
We're heading up to Portland Saturday, I believe, for various activities. So I'm going to be on the lookout for it.
Yeah.
Because I need to buy some Christmas gifts in the form of booze. That's not beer, and the only place I know is Maine Distillery and New England Distillery, so that's where I'm going to be going. That's my jam. I love those places.
Smoky quartz.
What's that?
Seabrook?
Seabrook.
And Liquid
Yeah.
Liquid Riot sells bottles of their booze now. They have a whiskey. They have a bunch of stuff.
I haven't been to Smoky Quartz or Sea Hag either, so
Yeah.
Yep.
Smoky
I'm
Quartz.
a bad New Hampshire boy.
Smoky Quartz is actually close if you went to Cigarette City.
Smoky Quartz. Yeah, I'm looking it up after the show because that'd be pretty cool to get something closer. I'm
Yeah.
checking it out. Speaking of Smoky, Sean, what do you got coming up?
Nothing too crazy. You'll find me in Concord on Friday night if anyone's around. But if you haven't noticed it, across the street from Prost in the plaza, there's a new restaurant that opened up.
Have you been
The
there?
Barley House, which is the place I'll be in the Barley House in Concord on Friday night. But this is their second location that they just opened. I went last week for the first time. Good spot.
Is it nice? Yeah, because it used to be like a Chinese place or something, but I saw it. I'm like, man, where did this place come from?
Yeah, so it's I think they have 20 something draft lines, 24 draft lines. It was a pretty good selection of beer, good food. Really, it's now going to be that different place. It's on Route 1. It's not a seafood or a flatbread pizza, or a big chain. So
Yeah, I got a couple friends in the Greenland area that are close by that are like, man, this place is gonna be good. It's a nice welcome than seafood or wannabe seafood that there is on Route 1.
so be it.
But I saw. Hey,
Yes.
listen, but they posted their draft list on Seago's beer, and it's pretty solid. I saw some
Yep.
Kelston there. I saw some Moat. They're doing good
Ooh,
things
nice.
with the draft. In any draft line with Kelston, let's go. That's a good.
Let's do it.
Anything else?
That's it.
Sweet. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Seago's Beverages Podcast. For Carl and Sean, I am Brian, and we're going to raise you a toast to you guys. Thanks for listening. Spread the word, and have a good beer. Cheers.
Totes.
Cheers.
Totes. See ya.